everyone. I'm Adam Brown, and this is Show Point Today for Wednesday, January 21st. On today's show, Herb and Sheila Sklar will preview their academy class about places and faces of Israel. And Ruth Deuber will have another recipe from the What's Cooking Kitchen. Before we get to that, we want to remind you folks who enjoy flying that tomorrow will be the very first meeting of the new Shell Point Aviation Club. If you have an interest in anything aeronautical, you are encouraged to attend this kickoff meeting. The first gathering will feature a panel of residents who will share their experience in various aspects of flying and will answer questions. With this group, the sky is the limit. No, really it is. It all starts at 1:15 in the Osprey Room on the island. And this Saturday, there will be an outing to Centennial Park for the Caloosahatchee Celtic Festival. This annual event is chock full of lively Celtic music and dance with vendors from all over displaying Celtic-style wares. And of course, there will be plenty of food available. Seating is not provided, so it is recommended that you bring a lawn chair light enough to carry about 100 yards, or a blanket if you wish to sit. The cost is $18 with food on your own. The bus will start pickups on the island at 11:15 a.m. An approximate return time will be 3 p.m. And now Herb and Sheila Sklar are here to talk about their upcoming academy class, Places and Faces of Israel.
Hello everyone, I'm here today with Sheila and Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve, and we're talking about our first Coffee with a Neighbor program in the Academy, and it is Places and Faces of Israel. Thanks for joining me. It's wonderful to have you both together.
Oh, thank you.
We're always together.
I know, but you teach separately, and this is a first togetherness class, and I'm so excited about it for a number of reasons. One reason is Sheila's way with feelings and expressing and understanding and sharing feelings, and Herb's beautiful photographs that make us feel like we're there, and to have you together sharing your feelings and how it felt to go to Israel together is going to be such a gift for us. First question, though, how do Sheila and Herb work out a program together? Do you divide the labor?
I'll answer that one. This is the Sheila show. These are my slides. I put them together. I am done. It's all her words.
And do you plan to have Herb show pictures that go with what you want to say, or do you have something to say about the pictures Herb
I
shows?
have a lot to say about those pictures.
This is wonderful. So how many times have you been to Israel?
We've only been twice.
Nice. Okay. What was the first time?
Oh, around 4 years ago we went, and that was it. It was instant love and passion and spiritual connectedness. It was just a wonderful experience, and we had it again this past summer.
What was different?
It's almost like a marriage as it ages, or a wine as it ages. It just gets more mellow and deeper, and you can appreciate things in a much more concrete way. Yeah.
So did you have a certain itinerary that you followed?
Yes, we went with the tour, and there's an itinerary which usually starts by 8 in the morning and doesn't end usually until 9 o'clock at night. It's an exhausting amount of running and up the stairs, because anyone who's been to Jerusalem knows that it's all uphill. Anywhere you go, it's just
There's no downhill.
It's all uphill.
Jerusalem's only uphill.
So,
Well, we said in the description that we're going to hear why you're so passionate about the state of Israel. Is that going to come through in general, or?
I'm not going to quote the Bible because I'm really not good enough to quote the Bible. But if you remember in Genesis, God says to Abraham, go forth, get up, leave your native land, leave your father, and go to the land that I will show you. And when he gets there, God says, look north, look south, look east, look west. All this belongs to you and your descendants forever. And we're descendants. So it's like, that's where our roots are. And that's where our spiritual roots are. And that's what I felt when I was there. And I think Herb felt it too.
Very much so.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we can't wait to see your photos. We can't wait to hear your reminiscence and have you pull it all together for us. And
should I mention the dried fruits and nuts and hummus.
A little taste of Israel.
That's
too.
right.
little-
It's
that
going to be
little taste
places
of
and
Israel.
faces and tastes of Israel.
Yeah.
Not that that matters to us, but it's very delicious, right? So please join us. We're going to gather from 1 to 2:30 on Thursday, and we're going to spend some time with Sheila and Herb and their words and their pictures, places and faces of Israel.
And now we head over once again to Ruth Deuber's kitchen. So, of course, it's time to ask the question, what's cooking?
Hello, I'm Ruth Deuber, and this is What's Cooking at Shell Point. And I have a special lady here today, Eleanor Perkins. She's been on my show many times, and I've nicknamed her Miss Butter Lady because she has made some of the most fabulous desserts. And they have mostly lots and lots of butter. So she's going to redeem herself today by something really healthy.
Yes, I am.
You go right ahead,
I
Eleanor.
certainly will. These are heart-healthy oatmeal pancakes and came from the American Heart Association, so they are not only good for you, they just have a tiny bit of butter. They got no salt in them. The recipe can be halved if you want to, but they freeze beautifully. So I always make a whole recipe, and then I just put what's left over in the freezer. If you have company, you won't have any left over. So now, 2 cups of uncooked oatmeal, just regular oatmeal, not the quick cooking, but just regular Quaker Oats or any kind you buy oatmeal, not the steel cut. 2 cups of buttermilk. You mix that together the night before you're going to make them. If you were going to make them at night, you could just do it that morning because it needs to sit in the refrigerator. And this is what it will look like the next morning when you take it out. So when you get ready to mix them up, you just stir that up. You do stir it up really well, the oatmeal and the buttermilk, before you put it in the fridge. Then you mix with 2 eggs, which you beat up, of course. 2 tablespoons, I want y'all to hear that, just 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And I'm going to mix that up before I kind of like to mix my stuff as I go and not just put everything in at the same time. I know they say you can do that, but I guess I'm old and like to do it the way that I've always done it. So you mix that up. It has 1/4 of a cup of whole wheat flour. You can buy that in the Publix. I get the King Arthur brand, and it keeps in the refrigerator because, I don't use whole wheat flour a whole lot. It has 1 teaspoon of soda, baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, no salt, 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar. Let me be sure. 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda. And so I have just mixed the baking soda and baking powder together right there. So I'm going to put that in there. And then the sugar I'm going to put in here and kind of stir that up just a little bit. I make mine on a griddle, but you could do it in any kind of frying pan or anything that you wanted to. So then I'm going to dump the flour with the baking powder and baking soda in it. And I'm sorry, Ruth, we didn't cut the griddle on when I got here. And I usually, do you have some Pam? Although my griddle is a non-stick, I spray a little bit on there. These are very good if you like blueberry pancakes. Then you can put blueberries in any part of the batter you want to, or you can just sprinkle them on top, but then they kind of cook and make like hot cooked blueberries on the griddle, which is okay, it tastes good. I love to cook apples, and I don't put anything in them. I just cook them down till they're tender. Apples on them are delicious. I've also made a mixed berry, like what is it called, Ruth? A compote, a mix, and that and just spoon that over the top. And of course you can't beat maple syrup on them too. Okay, I'm going to see how this first one does, and we'll just put this on. I do not make real big pancakes because I'm not a good flipper. Okay. Now see, somebody better than me could get 8 on here at one time. They look like they're really thick, but I guess it's because the buttermilk and the oatmeal, they're not gummy or, you know, like flour tasting, because they don't have that little bit of flour.
Right.
I mean, it's a
Much flour.
wonderful
Yeah.
recipe.
Now, do they create bubbles on the top when they start to
Well,
get done?
I just kind of watch around the edges. They don't bubble a lot. Okay. Oh, yay. Okay. See, and then I went to the edge.
Oh, that's all right.
The older I get, the least fussy I get. Isn't it wonderful to not have to be a perfectionist and do everything right? It took a long time to get there. I mean, we deserve that. So, you have to work at not being, I work real hard at not being perfect, so I've made it well. Yes. A little tidbit. Okay. I have never served these to anyone who did not like them.
That's a good recommendation.
And I don't always tell them, usually I tell them what they are, that they're heart healthy. Now, they're not all sweet and sugary and buttery like, what is the kind that you like, David? The Belgian, like a Belgian waffle pancake.
no,
And those, I mean, that you can tell. I mean, that is a major dessert. But they're really good. They have a wonderful flavor, and they're delicious. And I will not be offended if anybody doesn't like them. Likes it. Okay, those are done. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
These aren't quite ready.
Now, this isn't real butter, but all righty.
You're the expert.
Oh, no,
Yes, you are.
not really. People have asked me what my background is, and I say raised 4 kids and a husband.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
That's
You know,
right.
Yeah. I use the light syrup just because I like it.
I have a neighbor who brings me Vermont syrup every year when she goes home to Vermont, and real maple syrup, and it is
Oh, I get such a kick out of her.
Oh, I didn't let the baby one get quite brown enough. But
Oh, that's okay.
You want me to taste it too?
That's the best pancake I've ever
They're
eaten.
good, aren't they? They really are. I think I'll have another bite.
I forgot we have to end the show. I'll put the recipe up on the website. I hope you'll try it. Thank you so much for watching us.
Bye-bye.
And try it. Bye.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley and this is Caitlin Vanskoy, and we're going to tell you what activities are going on around here today. We're going to start bright and early with the 7:45 men's Bible study that's held in the Osprey Room on the island. At 8 o'clock we have the men's match play doubles tennis at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. Our Lilly and Company Jewelers will be here at the Resident Activity Center at 8:45. 9 o'clock till noon, Jurassic Travel will be in the egret room to help you with any personal transportation or travel needs you may have. At 9 o'clock, we have watercolor group with Phil Hilton. That's down in the art studio. And we have the card making and scrapbooking group at 9:15 down in the tarpon room. At 10 o'clock, we have men's match play doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. The model yacht sailing group will be down at the Woodlands Lake at 10:15 sailing their boats. At 10:15, the Women's Ministries Global Outreach will be at the Village Church. And at 11 o'clock, we have the neuropathy group. That'll be in the Oak Room down at the Woodlands. And our last morning activity is at 11:30, where we have the specifics in cardio conditioning at the Health Club. That is a Health Connections class. Here is Caitlin to tell you the afternoon lineup.
Thank you, Bev. Our first afternoon activity is 1 p.m. chess in the library lounge on the island. From 1:30 to 3:30 today, the model train room will be open for complimentary tours. That's down in the island tunnel. And at 1:45, we have a Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1. And that's in the Health Club, and it's currently full. At 2:15, we have a special social event, Do You Know Your Neighbor? And it's relating to the country of Germany. So come out for that and the social center on the island. At 2:15, we have Knitters Anonymous meeting in the Osprey Room of the island. And come listen to Jazz and Stuff at 2:30 in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. At 3 p.m., we have Bible study in the Community Room of King's Crown. And also at 3 p.m., we have a Health Connections class, Pilates Stretch in the Health Club. The Memory Care Group will be meeting at 3 p.m. in the Conference Room of the Behavior Health Building, and sign-up is required for that. At 3:30, another Health Connections class, Aqua Agility and Conditioning in the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. Come out for pickleball at 4 p.m., the pickleball courts on the island. And 4:30 is the time for indoor bocce in the Health Club. Church choir rehearsal will be held in the Village Church in the choir room at 5:45. Our last activity of the day is Wednesday evening service at 7:15 in the Village Church. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Happening segment, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, Digital Camera Prep School continues in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. At 10:15, Apple iWorks creating spreadsheets using the Numbers app will take place in the Computer Teaching Center on the island, and sign-up is required. At 1 o'clock, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain continues in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. At 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge continues in the Game Room of the Woodlands. And at 3 o'clock, Basics Prep School continues in the Computer Teaching Center at the Woodlands. Tomorrow we have 2 new classes. Academy on the Go, see the incredible world-famous Herman's Lipizzan stallions in training. If you are signed up, this is for you. And Coffee with a Neighbor, our first one of the semester, Places and Faces of Israel, with Sheila and Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve. A ticket is required, but if you did not get one and you have time, you could come to the Grand Cypress Room and see if there's some seats available at the last minute.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is beef stroganoff with noodles and roasted beets. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $13.95, and the soup of the day is minestrone. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a taco salad with fresh fruit for $7.25. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are poached flounder for $14.95 or ribeye for $19.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey, an assistant pastor. Abraham wore a crown. What do I mean? Well, not a real crown with precious stones and diamonds, obviously. So let me explain. There's a verse in the Bible that caught my attention some time ago. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 17 and verse 6, to be precise, King Solomon wrote, "Children's children are a crown to the aged." Put another way, grandchildren are a crown to seniors. So let me start again. Abraham had a crown. His name was Jacob. Abraham's son Isaac had a crown. His name was Joseph. Isaac's son Jacob had a crown. In fact, he had 2. Their names were Ephraim and Manasseh. When Abraham died at 175 years of age, his son Isaac was 75. And Isaac's son Jacob was 15. So, Jacob lived under the influence of his godly grandpa for 15 years. Now, picture little Jacob sitting on his grandfather's knee and saying to Abraham, "Grandpa, tell me a story. Tell me how you rescued Uncle Lot. Tell me why my Uncle Ishmael left home. Tell me how you felt on Mount Moriah when my dad asked you where you would find a lamb for the sacrifice, and how happy you were when God provided a ram so my dad would not have to die. Tell me a story." So Jacob became a crown to his grandfather. He became a crown to his father's father, his pride and joy, living proof that he, Abraham, hadn't failed as a father, and that his influence would continue through more than one generation. But one day Abraham died, and eventually so did Isaac. They were both buried in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron. Yet the story continues because Jacob himself had a son named Joseph. And in the fullness of time, Joseph, now the prime minister of Egypt, had twin crowns named Ephraim and Manasseh. So Jacob, grandson of Abraham, became a grandfather in his own right. And in God's goodness, Jacob lived nearby his grandsons for the last 17 years of his life before he died at the ripe old age of 147. So, Joseph's sons lived under his influence as grandfather, just as Jacob had lived under his grandfather Abraham's. Perhaps they asked old Jacob why he left home as a young man and went to live with Uncle Laban in Mesopotamia. Perhaps they asked old Jacob how he felt when he thought that his son Joseph had been killed by wild animals, and how he felt years later when he learned his son Joseph was now the prime minister of Egypt. Ephraim and his brother Manasseh became crowns then for Jacob in his sunset years. Feel the emotion as Jacob blessed his grandsons and prayed over them, crossing his hands. May the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked faithfully, may he bless these boys. May God bless these boys. My father and I lived on different continents for many years. He would write to me often in those days when men still wrote letters. After the birth of our two sons, Alan and John, my father often quoted old Jacob when he wrote to me. May God bless these boys. Those boys were his crown. One day the value of grandchildren came over me in a new way. Our family of 4 was based in Chicagoland at the time, and my parents, who were touching 70 years of age, made their first visit from England to us in the United States. My father had just preached as a guest preacher in our church. Gaining new appreciation for the heart and for the example of his grandpa, before we left the church, my 14-year-old son put his arm around his grandpa's neck. He looked into his face and he said, "Grandpa, I'm proud of you." My dad wore a crown from that day on. Perhaps your father wore a crown too. Perhaps you will wear one someday if you don't already. But that's the kind of crown you can't buy with money. And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow when Herb Sklar will be back to talk about photographing people. And we'll learn about the Finding Joy support group. Until then, this is ShellPoint Today for Wednesday, January 21st. I'm Adam Brown, and for all of us here at ShellPoint TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.